Best open, ready to go now. I think I blew it. All right, let me try again.
Take two.
Take two. And away we go. It didn't sound that good that time. There you go. Hello again, everybody. It's the Rich Herrera Radio Show on a Thursday. Short show today because we have Thursday Night Football coming up here on 1290. Of course, we're the home of the National Football League, so a little bit later we'll have Thursday Night Football. It gets going at 4:30 tonight. So that means we've got to really hustle through everything that I have planned for the show. So coming up in just a little bit, we'll have Washington, and I have to say Washington football team because I'm not used to saying Commanders yet. So it's the Washington football team and the Chicago Bears coming up at 4:30 here on Wildcats Radio 1290. I'm Rich Herrera. That is my trusted sidekick, JW. JW, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm doing great. How you doing, Rich?
I'm outstanding. It's a sunshiny day, beautiful weather. I got Arizona getting ready to take on UW. I spent most of the day over on campus.
Isn't that every day pretty much for you?
Pretty much during the football season, but we're going to get into all of that on the show today. I got a couple special guests coming up on the show. Roxy Bernstein, Pac-12 Network, will join us, and Dragon Ball is going to grace us with his presence.
He's so busy these days.
He is. So Dragon Ball is going to grace us with his presence and help me with Dragon Ball's football headlines. So all of that coming up on the show, but I really got to hustle to get to everything we have to get to today with the truncated show. So with that being said, quick reminder, Thursday Night Football coming up here on 1290. We will have for you this evening the Commanders and the Bears coming up tonight here on 1290. What else am I supposed to tell you about? Okay, so I got that out of the way. I was supposed to tell you that today's show is brought to you in part by Santan Flavored Whiskey, Caramello Salted Caramel Whiskey, Caramel Whiskey, and Cinemaple Breakfast Whiskey. That sounds pretty good right now. Make sure you listen for your chance to win a $25 gift card to enjoy some Santan Flavored Whiskey. They're this week's sponsor of the program. What else they told me? I got to remind everybody that we're going to go do the show. JW and I will be doing the show along with Kelvin Efon and Glenn Howell Saturday morning. We are on the road for the away game over at Casino del Sol inside the Sol Sportsbook. We'll be doing the pregame show starting at 10 o'clock before Arizona takes on Washington. All right, I got all of my to-do list out of the way. So let's see what's rattling around in my big old head today, shall we?
Warning. The following segment might trigger some listeners, and 1290 does not take responsibility for the following content.
What the hell is going on?
It's time for the list as we explore the sick, twisted mind of our host, Rich Herrera.
And that's when things got bad.
And the list of things he is thinking about in that huge size 8 Chrome Magnum head of his.
Look at the size of that boy's head. That's like an orange on a toothpick.
You're gonna give the boy a complex.
Well, that's a huge noggin. Has its own weather system.
Is my head really that big?
You said size 8, right?
It is a size 8. It's a más grande cabeza. All right, here's what's going on. Here's what's rattling around in my big old head. I'm thinking a lot about the Washington game coming up this week as the Arizona Wildcats will take on UW. All right, Arizona's right now at 500. So is this a success so far or a failure? I don't know. Either way, it's frustrating, right? A little bit later, I'm going to go do some stuff on Pac-12 Network, Pac-12 Radio. And then I got to do some stuff. I got some more shows coming up on CBS. So I've been trying to put this together to explain to people where the University of Arizona football team started. So if we started the season and everybody gets their initial kickoff, goes to the end of the end zone, everybody else started 1st and 10 on their own 25. That's where USC has been. That's where UCLA's been. That's where Oregon's been. That's where Utah's been. Cal, everybody else in the conference has been there. Utah has a tackle for loss. They go back 10 yards with that loss in the swamp at the last moment to the Gators. Oregon got tackled for a loss and lost 20 yards on a big sack
21, right? Safety, I think, on that one.
Yeah, 21. Let's put them right there. Against Georgia, and they got demolished. USC's just been marching the ball up the field. UCLA's been marching up the ball up the field. That's why they're both undefeated. It's 6-0. Where did Arizona start, though? Did they really start 1st and 10 on their own 25? No. If everybody else started 1st and 10 on their own 25, even Colorado, even the school up north, Arizona, you want to know where I think they started, JW?
Where's that?
In the parking lot.
Yeah.
I don't even think they were in the stadium. I don't even think they were on the field. So as we get right now to the halfway point of the season, for the Arizona Wildcats to be 3-3, I'm going to be real candid with you, and I'm not being Homer Simpson. Okay, I'm not being Bart's dad. No. This is pretty remarkable. When you look at the big perspective of where everybody started and where Arizona started. So if everybody else started 1st and 10 of the 25, I think Arizona was in the parking lot, hadn't even gotten off the bus yet. So to be 500 at this point of the season, to me, is pretty remarkable. This was one of the worst football teams in college football. When we sat here last year, I asked this of Jed Fish. Compare and contrast. He said last year we got smoked by Colorado. We beat Colorado this year. Last year, we got trounced all the way through. I mean, last year, think about this. At this point last year, I just happen to have my handy-dandy Arizona Media Guide right here next to me. Last year, Arizona lost against BYU 24-16. They got run out of the stadium by San Diego State 38-14. They lost to a FCS school in northern Arizona 21-19. Then they lose to Oregon 41-19. They lose to UCLA, a bad UCLA team last year, 34-16. They get smoked by Colorado 34-0. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're 0-6. And as they go into that sixth game, they lose that sixth game. They lose 34-0. This year, the Arizona Wildcats beat San Diego State, a team that they lost to last year and got run off the floor. They lose to Mississippi State. They beat the FCS school, which is better than Northern Arizona. They lose to Cal, and then they beat Colorado. And the beating Colorado, some people might look at it as like, oh, well, big deal. I am going to look at this as a big deal. You want to know why? Is they beat Colorado 43-20. Last year, they got shut out by Colorado, and Jed pointed that out. So to put all this in perspective, if everybody else starts 1st and 10 of the 25, Arizona's out in the parking lot. That's how bad they were. That's what a dumpster fire Arizona football was for the last few years. We're talking about a team that we celebrated because they didn't get their losing streak to drinking age at 21. So if I compare and contrast year to date, and that's what you do in business, that's what you do in life. Where was I a year ago? Have I grown? The answer is, hell yeah, Arizona's grown. Is it to where I want it to be right now? No. But I'm going to tell you right now, as we get ready for the 7th game of the season, they're in much better position than they were last year. And we'll see how strong they can finish. One of the things to look at for this weekend, and I'll just start throwing this out. You remember last year when I told you why I loved Jaden DeLora? Why I wanted some swagger? You remember last year, Arizona, no swagger. You win the one game against California, and they have most of their players out with COVID. But I said when Jaden DeLora came down here, there was a moment I talked about. I love it. He wants to forget about it, and that's because he's a lot more mature than I am. Washington State hadn't beat UW in forever, especially in Seattle. So as Washington State beats UW, the crowd goes crazy. The Coug fans rush the field on the road in Seattle. And Jaden DeLora gets Old Crimson, that big, gigantic Washington State flag. And I watch this again because my son's best friend plays for Washington State. So I watched this game, and I watched DeLora get the flag, and he wades through the fans, just a sea of fans going crazy at Husky Stadium, and he gets right to the 50-yard line. The students are going so crazy they don't even notice him. There's like a football player wading through these kids with a huge flag. but he's holding it sideways. He wasn't holding and waving. He was carrying it to a spot. And when he got to that spot, the kids are going crazy. They don't even notice him. All of a sudden, they go, hey, wait a minute, there's a football player. Oh, let's get out of his way. So he kind of gets everybody out of his way, and right there in the middle of the whole crowd, boom, he plants that Old Crimson Washington State Cougar flag on the 50-yard line in Seattle, in the middle of Husky Stadium. Now, he's mentioning, like, dude, I shouldn't have done that. He's very contrite about it. But I told you when he came down here, he said, you know what you need? You need somebody with a little bit of swagger. You need somebody with a little bit of intestinal fortitude, as the great Gorilla Monsoon used to say in the old WWF days. And you have it. And that's one of my biggest differences this year to last year. The swagger that you have for the University of Arizona, it's clear. JW, you watch this football program longer than just about everybody else. Tell me, how much swagger have they had before Jaden DeLore rolled into town?
Yeah, not much the last few years.
None.
Yeah, I mean,
none.
There was a stretch maybe 4 years ago. There was some swagger.
Little bit.
Didn't equate to wins, but just stats. I'll tell you this much, Rich. To me, they bring 50 new players this year?
51 new players.
Okay, 51 new players in a building, not rebuilding, but building mode for this coaching staff here on campus now for 20 months.
Yeah.
It feels to me like if they are playing better every single game this year,
they're feeling it.
then that's progress. It
That's
doesn't matter.
that's progress.
Record-wise, you're supposed to beat the teams you're supposed to beat. You're supposed to show up against the teams that are like Oregon this weekend, outmatched a bit, maybe potentially by the guys who are on the field. But as far as the fight, it was never a question as to whether or not the Arizona Wildcats wanted to be in that game. And that's, I think, from a fan's perspective, after however many consecutive losses and 51 new players and a new coaching staff still putting in their own wrinkles, if you see as a fan on the field that the team's playing better week in, week out, that's what really matters.
That is called swagger. And they're going to, and again, you want to see the big difference? The swagger that you have with DeLora.
Those wide receivers.
Wide receivers. In fact, I was on campus today. I was driving back. I saw Christian Young. They were walking out to practice. I hollered at him. Gave him the, what's up, man? He was right there. The swagger that they have is something that's been sorely missed. Basketball team has swagger. Baseball team has swagger. Football team has swagger right now. Those are a couple of my big takeaways at the 500 mark. But it's going to be Jaden's game. I hate to do this to anybody, but it's going to be Jaden's game. Jaden is going to make or break the Cats this weekend. If he plays under control, Cats have an opportunity to get into a shootout and beat UW. If he presses and he starts playing out of control, it plays into Seattle's hand, which is going to try to bury you by 40, 45 points. He's got to stay under control this weekend in Seattle. I'm going to talk a little bit about the defense coming up here in just a second, because that's the other part as we get you ready for the game against the Dogs. It's the Cats and the Dogs up in Seattle. We'll do that next. Roxy Bernstein joins us at the bottom of the hour. We'll preview all the games of the Pac-12, and then Dragon Ball and I are going to have a big discussion about the National Football League coming up at 4 o'clock. Hey, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, today's program is brought to you by Santan Flavored Whiskey, Caramello, Salted Caramel Whiskey, and Cinna Maple Breakfast Whiskey. I know what I'm doing tonight while I'm watching Thursday Night Football. We've got more coming up. Rich Herrera with you. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
This is the Rich Herrera Radio Show. Now streaming on Facebook Live and YouTube at Wildcats 1290 and our website, wildcatsradio1290.com.
Terry crosses middle, handed to Matherin between the rings. Over for Creasa. Checked by Campbell. High screen from Koloko. Creasa around it, drives right. Throw it for Koloko, who slams it down for two. Lamb set. And the pitch to Susak. Driven out towards right field. That is going to get down for a base hit and go all the way to the wall. Headed for third. They're going to wave him around. He's coming home, and the Wildcats have tied it up. Susak with an RBI double to right center. And we're still playing ball. Tied at 16 in the bottom of the 10th. Shot blocked by Coloco, who grabs it out of the air. Ahead to Dalen Terry, Arizona with the ball, minute 30 to go, and a 6-point lead. Juzang working right, drives to the bucket, put up, blocked by Coloco, grabbed by Larson. Arizona ball, 38 seconds left. For Bernard, goes right, blocked by Ballo, grabbed by Matherin. Arizona ball, 22 seconds left. Campbell down for the Bruins, throw it out to Riley. He'll shoot the three, blocked again by Coloco. Ballo grabs it, it's over. Championship to Tucson.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rich Herrera. Thank you so much for tuning into our stream. We'll be back in just a bit. Until then, how about some Arizona Wildcat highlights?
Fourth down and less than a yard. Trojans will go for it in a tie game. Slovis out of the shotgun. Step to his left. Step to handoff. It is good. Backfield and drop. No gain. Loss on the play. Cats take over.
That's a huge play by Arizona. Explosive play in the backfield that time.
Shot blocked by Coloco, who grabs it out of the air. Ahead to Dalen Terry, Arizona with the ball, minute 30 to go, and a 6-point lead. Juzang working right, drives to the bucket, put up, blocked by Coloco, grabbed by Larson. Arizona ball, 38 seconds left. For Bernard, goes right, blocked by Ballo, grabbed by Matherin. Arizona ball, 22 seconds left. Campbell down for the Bruins, throw it out to Riley. He'll shoot the three, blocked again by Coloco. Ballo grabs it, it's over. Championship to Tucson. Dalen Terry quickly the other way, out to Tabellas, down the lane to throw it down with the left hand. Look out. The locomotive slams it home. Hey, sports fans, it's Rich Herrera. Show will be back in just a little bit. Thanks for tuning into our stream. Until then, how about some great moments for the University of Arizona Wildcats? Fourth down and 2, Arizona. Down 14-0. Wildcats on fourth down this year are 12 of 20. Offset backfield. Plummer to throw the ball, looking, throwing towards the back of the end zone, and it's caught. Touchdown, Arizona. Oh, did they need that? My goodness. Booby Curry had to leap in the air to take the ball over the top of the defender, and the Cats are on the board. ASU with the ball, down by 11, so they have to go. Steal by Coloco. He's going to drive the other way and slam it home, and foul by Lawrence.
Why Lawrence contested the big man, Christian Coloco, with defensive steal and flush.
Lawrence picks up his third foul. Big guys love to play point guard. Coloco looked like what, driving down that was from mid-court. 3-point lead again for TCU. Down to 30 seconds left. Matherin with the ball for the Wildcats. Matherin around a Coloco screen, picked up by Lampkin. Go outside for Coloco, feed it to Terry, right corner. Terry can't go baseline, circles back out top to Matherin. 10 to shoot, 16 left in the ballgame. Matherin, 3 balls straight away, good!
That's
We're tied.
A huge shot for Ben Matherin in Arizona. Timeout TCU. This ball game is knotted up.
12.6 seconds to go. Ben Matherin drains a deep 3 from straight away. He's got 24 points, and we're all even.
Hey, sports fans, this is Rich Herrera. Thanks so much for tuning into our stream. Back in just a bit. Until then, how about some highlights from the University of Arizona?
McLeod's going to line up under center. Wiley, the running back. Receiver either side. 2 tight ends. Oregon, 5-man front. They shift. Play fake, rolling right. McLeod looking to throw. Going deep. Down, trying to find Berryhill. Makes the catch inside the 25-yard line. Still loose inside the 15. First down, Arizona.
What a play by McLeod. He was smacked, but he had the presence of mind to know where Berryhill was. He threw the ball. He underthrew the ball, and Berryhill was looking back at it and made a great play on the ball. An amazing play by Jordan McLeod.
On Wildcats Radio 1290.
All right, short show today, so we got to get right to the telephones. So I make sure I get everybody in before Roxy Bernstein joins us in the Dragon Ball. And then it'll be Thursday Night Football, Washington taking on Chicago here on 1290. Let me go to the phones. I'll start with Paul in Phoenix first, right? All right, Paul in Phoenix on line 3. Bear down, welcome. You're on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Rich, bear down. I'm going to be quick, sir. After this past weekend, when not only did the Wildcats take it on the chin, but also my Arizona Cardinals decided to lose in just yet another weird way. Both of my teams are in the Seattle area this weekend. Okay, and to use, and I wish I was going, and to use a phrase that Ron Wolfley up here for the Cardinals play-by-play guy or the color commentator uses. He says Crazy Carl needs to show up, and Crazy Carl means a crazy play. So I'm going to wish that for not only my Cardinals, but I think our Arizona defense, because you were going to talk about that.
Yep.
I think Crazy Carl's going to show. We're going to get a tip pass and maybe even a scoop and score on defense. I think our defense they're going to show up this week and realize if we can make some plays, that will motivate the offense. I'm going to let you go, Rich. Bear down.
Bear down. Thank you.
Have a good rest of your week, sir.
By the way,
Yes, sir.
tomorrow, Softy from KJR, who's a legendary sports talk show host up in Seattle, will come on the program tomorrow to preview Arizona and Washington.
I'll be listening. Thank you, sir.
All right,
Bear
thanks,
down.
brother. Talk to you.
Okay, bye.
Rich
Bye.
in Chicago on line 1. Good afternoon. Bear down. My friend, you're on 1290. What's up?
I'll be quick as well. I was going to give this to you yesterday, but you were tight yesterday, too. I'm going to give you a scoop.
Yes.
All right?
Look, I got my pen and my paper to write down. Go.
All right, here's the deal. I found out yesterday who the top 2 candidates are for the Colorado job that isn't public.
Well, then let's break it right here.
All right. And I got this from guys that are close, not to the Colorado program, but to the 2 candidates.
All right. See, I love when we
The
rumor
number-
monger.
Yeah, but you know what? I verified this to 2 guys.
Right.
Being an football guy, I got guys all over the place, and and I got it from 2 separate sources, and they both verified it. The top guy, and that is there's no guarantee, is Eric Bieniemy, with the Chiefs offensive coordinator. Colorado guy, All-American. He coached there.
And somebody that's been passed over a few times.
Yes.
And he's gone through the process quite a bit. Yeah, absolutely. I think that would be one of the top names. And I know people keep going, oh, Matt Rule. Bieniemy makes the most sense.
No, but Rule's not even in play. But let me give you the quick rationale. And this goes back to Matt Nagy when he got blown out of the Bears job. He's there with the offense. They're tripping over one another, and he and Bieniemy don't like each other.
Right.
Bieniemy's making $1 million, and the last salary for the Colorado guy that got launched was $3.5 million to be head coach.
No, Bieniemy wants that job, absolutely.
Yes, he wants the job, and I think he'll take it if they offer it. And he was the offensive coordinator. A lot of people don't realize this. After his playing days at Colorado in 2011 and 2012,
right?
He played for McCartney, but I don't even know this guy, but he coached before he got launched at Colorado with a guy named John Embry. You know who that is?
I know the name.
I don't even know the guy or the name.
Yeah, I've heard the name before. Okay, go ahead. What's the other one?
The other guy that's likely and would be a good default, because I think he's ready to go, is Troy Calhoun at Air Force. He wants a program that's a step up from the Mountain West.
Right.
And I looked up these salaries. All right. The problem with Calhoun, and you'll appreciate this with your son and my dad being a Navy guy, Calhoun is making $3 million from the Defense Department. And let me put that in perspective. A general makes $197,000 a year.
Exactly.
The most highly paid person on the government payroll is the Air Force coach.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
The highest paid state employee is almost always coach.
Is
right?
always the coach,
Yeah.
right? Nick Saban makes more than the governor. So, and that's an interesting one because I know Ken Niumatalolo wanted to come here to Arizona. He didn't get the job. They hired Kevin Sumlin instead. And now Nemo's so entrenched in Navy, he would never leave. Calhoun is very interesting. He hasn't been at Colorado as long as Niumatalolo's been at Navy. I think Munkin has more time in Army. But the relationship you get with those academies are so tight, it's hard to pry them away unless it's the perfect job.
Believe it or not, I looked it up because that's what I thought. Calhoun's been at Air Force for 16 years.
Has he really?
16 years. He's got a 115.77 record at Air Force. That's unbelievable.
Right, because they've gotten so many Commander-in-Chief trophies that a lot of times the Army-Navy game isn't for the Commander-in-Chief trophy because Air Force has dominated that thing so much.
Wasn't he like a super hot name during maybe the Wildcat era of like 15 years? It feels like his name was thrown around as taking some of the biggest high-profile jobs around that time.
No, he's got the perfect job because you can win. You've got probably the best of the best of the best of kids that you have. And you have job security, and it's a higher calling than being just a football coach. Being a football coach is a higher calling, but this is an even higher calling because you're training our nation's future leaders.
And two quick things for that. This will shock you, but one of my coaches when I was in college was a DB coach.
Mm-hmm.
How about Fisher DeBerry before he went to Air Force?
Yeah.
I know Fisher.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a guy that was there, 18 years, and he killed it.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Hey,
Now,
Rich, go ahead, because we're right up against the clock.
Last thing, this will be quick, and this really surprised me and annoyed me. I looked at all the Pac-12 coaches' salaries. Shaw is right behind Lincoln Riley. Shaw is almost $9 million.
Right.
Jed Fish is at the bottom with the Washington State guy. Washington State guy is making 2.4. Smith and Jed's making about 2.2.
Right.
And that makes no sense to me.
It's longevity.
I think that's why.
It's longevity for Shaw.
I guess he's
been there forever. Right.
Yeah, you hang around, you just keep getting jacked up. But anyway, I'm really surprised that there's that much of a differential between the top guys and Jed and the Washington State guy. That's just a disgrace.
Yeah, I mean it's how hot of a name were you? It's how quickly do they want to get you, and how long you've been in this conference. Hey, I got to run, Rich. Thank you so much.
Yep.
By the way, all right, I'll talk to you later. Thanks, bud. I do need to throw a special shout out to our very, very good friend Lou, who called. He called in just the other day. I just learned that he's moving up to Peoria. Is he moving to Peoria, Arizona, or Peoria, Illinois?
He just said he was moving to Peoria.
Hopefully it's Peoria, Arizona, so he's closer to us.
Yeah, hopefully. I told him he can listen online and through the apps.
So, Lou, thank you so much. We're going to miss you here in town, buddy, but I know you're going to be listening to us. We're rooting for the Wildcats, repping the red and blue wherever you are.
I know Lou back from my Frog days. He used to hang around Frog a lot back in those days.
Right. So, Lou, hey, thank you, brother. We appreciate it. Be safe in your move, and you always are welcome to call in and listen to us wherever you happen to be in Peoria, Illinois, Arizona, wherever you are. You're always going to be part of our Wildcat Radio 1290 family. All right, coming up next, Roxy Bernstein joins us then at the top of the hour, Dragon Ball. We got a whole lot more coming up. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
This is the Rich Herrera Radio Show. Now